Good evening and thanks for joining us. You're watching the evening news on ABS and I am Ifunanya Amafili. And we'll start with our headlines for today. Anambra Basic Education Commissioner Professor Omenoha urges schools to encourage children to participate in debate competitions. Christians commemorate crucifixion and death of Christ as they mark Good Friday. Justice Onogen's appeal his conviction by Code of Conduct Tribunal. And on the foreign scene, climate change protesters block access to French multinationals. And we'll start with the news in details. 24 schools have emerged as zonal champions at the ongoing 2019 Governors Schools Debate Competition organized by the Ministry of Basic Education in collaboration with Bring It On Africa, a non-governmental organization. The zonal champions comprises of 12 primary schools and 12 secondary schools from private and public schools in the state. Our education correspondent, Theophilus Ukoha, now completes the report.
In the zonal champions, Commissioner for Basic Education, Professor Kate Omenoha, said their emergence shows they measured up to the expected standard set up for the debate competition and should prepare for the finals of the competition. She explained that the debates were designed to sharpen speaking ability of Anambra school children and charged their handlers to adhere to the expected standard during the remaining parts of the competition.
Sometimes we think that teachers they have confidence in themselves. We want to package teaching and teachers in such a way that they begin to believe that they are actually the future of this country.
The State Debate Coordinator, Mrs. Amaka Anakwe, while congratulating the zonal champions, listed some of the rules and regulations to be adhered to during the remaining parts of the competition.
In the area of debate, Anambra State has been waxing strong, and we owe it big congratulations and thanks to our amiable Governor, His Excellency, the Governor of Anambra State, Chief Dr. Willie Madabrojumobiano, for ever supporting us. He sent us overseas to learn the new trend of debate.
Also speaking, the coordinator Bring It On Africa non-governmental organization, Mr. Joseph Chibo, said all the schools that emerged as zonal champions qualified due to their excellent performance at the local government levels and is fit to contest for the quarterfinals. Mr. Chibo also said participants of the competition have been automatically enrolled into the State Debaters Club of the state.
I am very proud to be an Anambarian. My next word, I will ask God, please let me to be from Anambra State. Because what we are seeing in this state means that we have youths and teens that have this talent to go far. But if only you can give them a proper platform, we are sure that they will excel.
In an interview, the chairman of Anambra State Universal Basic Education Board, ASUBEB Chief Patrick Obaja, expressed satisfaction with the performance of the schools to get to the zonal level and is optimistic that the best schools will get to the finals. The chairman, Board of Trustees, Bring It On Africa, Dr. Beatrice Okonkwo, in a remark, thanked Governor Willie Obiano for the enabling environment provided for teaching and learning to thrive in the state, assuring that they will consolidate on the existing infrastructure and education. Recall that 1,500 schools from private and public schools competed at the local government levels, where 24 schools emerged as zonal champions. The schools were later presented with certificates. 4th and 10th May 2019 have been fixed for the quarterfinals and finals, respectively, for the competition. Theophilus Ukoha reporting for ABS News.
Christians all over the world observe today as Good Friday. It is a day the faithful commemorate the crucifixion and death of Jesus Christ on the cross of Calvary. The day is described as Good Friday because Jesus Christ died on that fateful day for the redemption of mankind. During the day, many faithful abstained from meat, while others fasted. The cross and images of Christ were covered with black cloth to depict the mourning period by Christians. Services were held today to mark the event, which the federal government declared as a public holiday. Another public holiday will be observed on Monday, 22nd April, to mark Easter Monday. Mrs. Anwulika Chimuba, a mother of two in her late 30s, has been baited with a substance suspected to be acid by her husband, Mr. Onyechona Chimuba, who allegedly opposed his wife's demand for a divorce. According to the Anambra State Commissioner for Children and Women's Affairs, Lady Ndidi Mezwe, the victim, who had sought divorce, accusing her husband of living a questionable life, was with her husband in the Ministry of Children and Women's Affairs, Oka, on Tuesday and earlier Wednesday, where their differences were being resolved. Daniel Ezeigwe has more on the story.
According to the commissioner and other eyewitnesses, including the mother of the victim, it was after they left the ministry that the husband brought out a bottle containing the harmful substance, which he hid in his clothes and poured the contents on the victim, causing serious burns on her face, down her body. The victim was then rushed to the Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu University Hospital, Amak, Oka, where the commissioner, Lady Mezwe, had already visited and promised to support her.
It's so shocking and I don't know how to express my feeling. It's so sad, it's very painful. The man in question is now with the B division, as he is now in the custody of the police. It's between him and the law. So I think for now my ministry has answered off the case. We don't have anything to say for now.
The doctor who was treating the victim, who spoke on the condition of anonymity, said the substance had caused severe damage to the woman's skin. He said the patient had received treatments and will be taken to the plastic surgery unit for further medical attention. The husband, who is already in the police custody, is a native of Umiata Nam in Anambra West Local Council area. In Oka, Daniel Ezeigwe, ABS News.
Miners Association of Nigeria Southeast Zone has resolved to tackle illegal mining activities across the area. The chairman and national coordinator Southeast Zone of the association, Chief Henry Ibueli, disclosed this when he led other members of the group to a courtesy call on the traditional ruler of Oka, Obi Gibson Musu, at his palace. Blessing Uchendu brings us more.
Chief Ibueli, who said that the aim of the visit was to look into the challenges facing the Miners Association Southeast Zone, as well as to provide solutions to them, maintained that the zone wants to enforce the provision of the Mining Act in terms of regulating mining activities. He also spoke of the urgent need to bring together all stakeholders in the mining industry, including the miners, the state government, the federal authorities, and the Miners Association, to form strong fronts to streamline the mining industry codes and abolish all informal minings and create desired standards.
We have tin, and they will have sharp sand, black rock, and other ones that they will tell you is not in commercial quantity, but it's a lie. They smuggle all these things out of the state.
In their separate speeches, the chairman, Imo State Chapter Miners Association, Pastor Chuks Oriako, and his Ebonyi State counterpart, Dr. Sunday Chukwu, complained that some individuals formed Miners Association in the area without being duly registered, thereby causing problems in the association, and stressed the need for the miners in the zone to be accorded due recognition. Welcoming the group, Obi Gibson Musu, who is also the national patron, Southeast Zone of the association, commended them for their efforts at eliminating wax in their various states and advised informal miners in the zone to obtain their license either as an individual or as a cooperative society and ensure that they operate within the confines of laid down laws. He also urged the Federal Ministry of Mines not to recognize groups that refuse to register with the appropriate bodies.
Anybody, according to the Constitution, can form any organization because we have freedom of speech and freedom of association. But when these organizations are at the formative stage, we hereby plead with the parent body at the Federal Ministry of Mines not to recognize any such groups that did not register with the Miners Association of Nigeria.
In Oka, Blessing Uchendo, ABS News.
Justice Onogeng appeals his conviction by Code of Conduct Tribunal. And on the foreign scene, climate change protesters block access to French multinationals. Do stay with us. We'll have more details on that after the break.
History shows Diamond shared the dream to build more than just a bank, bringing the online revolution to Nigeria and becoming part of the networked society, helping to lift the country and continent out of recession to enrich its people too. Now, with our two banks fused together, we can help more move up the social ladder and help future generations make more of their lives, whoever and wherever they are. A new bond to help unleash the potential in every African who banks with us.
Listening to this announcement, Anambra State government has banned every form of street trading and hawking in all streets, major roads and highways in the state. The ban is to enhance easy flow of traffic, improve environmental sanitation and aesthetics. Anyone caught flouting this ban will be prosecuted. Let us support the efforts of the state government towards promoting a socially stable and sustainable environment. Announcer Christian C. Madubuko, PhD, Anambra State Commissioner for Trade and Commerce.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. Justice Walter Onogeng, who was sacked yesterday as the Chief Justice of Nigeria upon his conviction by the Code of Conduct Tribunal, has appealed the tribunal's decision. In a notice of appeal filed at the registry of the CCT shortly after the judgment, Onogeng raised 16 grounds on which he faulted the decision and urged the Court of Appeal to set it aside and discharge and acquit him. The appellant is urging the Court of Appeal to hold that the CCT lacked the jurisdiction to hear the charge and that the tribunal ought to have rescued itself from the trial. He also prayed the court to set aside all the orders made by the tribunal in the judgment, including that for asset forfeiture. President Muhammadu Buhari says India has lately become the country's biggest trade partners, especially in crude oil sales. Buhari, who was speaking at the presidential villa in Abuja when he received letters of credence from the High Commissioner of India to Nigeria, Mr. Abhay Tukur, noted that the two countries are very close, adding that India has helped Nigeria in many ways and has become her biggest customer in crude oil purchase. On his part, Tukur promised that his country will stand with Nigeria shoulder to shoulder in all areas of mutual interest, including security. He also said efforts will be made to address issues such as reducing double taxation and attracting more foreign direct investments, actualizing Nigerian airline Air Peace dream of 2 weekly flights to Bombay and opening up the visa regime more. Moving over to the foreign scene, climate activists blocked hundreds of employees from entering the headquarters of French bank Société Générale, state-run utility EDF, and oil giant Total today. The environmental group Greenpeace has said. Greenpeace said it was protesting against the company's link to the oil and gas industries, which the group says is a driving force in global warming. They plastered giant posters of President Emmanuel Macron carrying a slogan, "Macron, President of Polluters," and a banner reading "Scene of Climate Crime" on the glass facade of Société Générale. Police pepper sprayed one group blocking the bank's main entrance in a sit-down protest. Some protesters taped themselves together, while others cuffed themselves with plastic ties to metal poles to make it harder for the police to dislodge them. On our sports desk this evening, Super Eagles head coach Gernot Rohr is worried over one of the players, Samuel Kalu, who is battling to be fit for the Africa Cup of Nations in Egypt after suffering a relapse from an injury which he nursed for 2 months and a half. According to media reports, Kalu is yet to play for Bulldogs the past 3 weeks, and he is not close to returning for the team due to the injury setback, which, according to Rohr, became worse after he tried to force his return back to action in a league game against Monaco on the 9th of March. a game he ended up playing just 29 minutes. The Franco-German coach revealed that Kalu's family issues, particularly when his mother was kidnapped for ransom, also aggravated the injury, as the 21-year-old didn't sleep for nights in his bid to secure the release of his mother from her abductors. Now, don't forget you can follow our news and programs on ABS from any part of the world simply by liking our Facebook page, which is ABS Radio Television. And you can subscribe to our YouTube handle at youtube.com/ABS Radio TV Online, and follow us on our Twitter handle at ABS TV and on Instagram at ABS Radio TV. You can also log on to our website, which is www.absradiotv.com. Now, before we end the news, we'll go to our headlines for this evening. Anambra Basic Education Commissioner Professor Medoga has urged schools to encourage children to participate in debate competitions. Christians commemorate crucifixion and death of Christ as they mark Good Friday. Justice Anogan has appealed his conviction by Code of Conduct Tribunal. And on the foreign scene, climate change protesters have blocked access to French multinationals. And with that, we'll wrap up the news this evening. Thanks for being with us. I am Ifunaya Amafili. Do have a good evening.